This lesson will examine the Maintenance Monitor System covering the Maintenance Control and Display Panel, MCDP, remote operation, and an introduction to ground test. You will become familiar with the MCDP controls from the flight deck. Faults indicated during this lesson are used as examples only, and you will not troubleshoot to a component level. These training points will be covered. Sections consist of the introduction, the remote control panel setup in operations from the flight deck, entering the ground test mode, and conducting ground test 30, current faults test. It is a wishful day in the maintenance room. All is calm and quiet when the manager comes into the room with a small autopilot problem for you to fix. He reminds you that passengers will be loading in 45 minutes. So, in your normal fashion, off you go to the problem airplane. Where do you start? You must access the MCDP from the flight deck. You will be using ground power. The CDUs, the lower ICAS display, and the remote control panel for the MCDP that you brought with you. Let's review the procedures in the FIM first for using the remote control panel. Touch the FIM icon in the lower left of your screen to open and close the FIM manual. Review the pages of Figure 103B of the FIM. You may use this icon at any time in this lesson to review the FIM pages. Press the green arrow to continue when done. P6-5 is down near the floor. The remote control panel connects to this plug. Next, you will set up the flight deck display for the MCDP. On the CDU, located on the flight deck, you will access the MCDP page on the lower ICAS display. Select the Displays page. Select the Maintenance pages. Select Section 31 for the MCDP Message section. Correct. You now see the MCDP Message page on the CDU and also the lower ICAS display. This ICAS display has the MCDP section in the lower center area of the display. The MCDP is currently off. The message area consists of 11 lines available for data with 16 characters per line. Turn on the MCDP. Review the last flight faults. Compare the faults shown with the list you made from the main equipment center. Touch the correct fault. That is correct. Advance to the next fault. Verify the next flight fault. As you can see, both the last flight faults are the same as you have recorded from the MCDP front panel. Now let's enter the ground test mode. The MCDP is verifying that the FCCs are not engaged. The FCCs and the TMC are performing a self-test and reporting back to the MCDP. The MCDP is verifying the interface between the primary and secondary systems. Ground test mode has been entered. All self-tests have been completed. Next, you will review the FIM pages on Ground Test 30. Select the FIM icon on the lower left. Pay special attention to the cautions and warnings required prior to performing this test. After your review, press the green arrow to continue. Use the remote control panel to advance to and select Test 30. You may use the up, down, or no skip switches. That is not correct. Try again. Correct. Now select Yes Advance to continue. Select Yes Advance. The MCDP is checking the interfaces between the primary and secondary systems. This fault reports that the left flight control computer has a problem with the center flight control computer. Select Yes Advance to continue. This fault reports that the right flight control computer has a problem with the center flight control computer. Select Yes Advance to continue. Select Yes Advance. That is not correct. This step will be automatically skipped if the autothrottle switch is in the arm position. Check the mode control panel. If it is not in the arm position, touch the switch to arm the autothrottle. The system is testing the interface between the TMC and the autothrottle servo. The throttle levers move slightly at the start of this step. Next, the ground test discretes are set open. The FCCs and TMC go from ground test to ground faults mode and transmit ground fault data to the MCDP. Select Yes Advance to read the operational monitor faults. The MCDP is reading the fault logic. Select the Ground Test button to get the diagnostic code for this fault. You may use the Yes Advance switch, but it will skip the diagnostic code and go to the next fault. Note that there is no sixth digit for these diagnostic codes. The faults are current, so they cannot be intermittent or a SSFD fault. Go on to the next fault using the Yes Advance switch or the Ground Test button. They both go to the same fault page. Continue to the fault diagnostic code, or you may use the Yes Advance switch, but it will skip the diagnostic code and go to the next fault. Continue to the next fault. Select Yes Advance. That is not correct. Try again. Turn the MCDP off. You have completed the remote operation of the MCDP and performed Ground Test 30. During this lesson, you have located the MCDP in the main equipment center. You powered up the system and conducted an operational test in accordance with the Fault Isolation Manual, FIM procedures. You have covered how to access the last and previous flight faults that the system has recorded. You have used the remote control panel from the flight deck to access the recorded faults and to conduct Ground Test 30 current faults.